Venmo Joe. It's been a little
We're
bit.
back.
Welcome
We're
back.
back, baby. We're back.
We're back. We're back in a different way. We're back with a brand new show. We got we got called up. We did a few segments. We had a good time. I had a good time. We picked a few pretty, I think, pretty good winners. That's a nod to you. You left off last introducing me to Maverick McNeely, who's won me money time and time again. But we were noticed by local sports blog hero Chris Burhan's, founder of Sports Mockery. For those of you who are in Chicago, you know Sports Mockery. If you're not, maybe you don't, but you will very soon. Invited us to do their first ever golf podcast. And I'm honored to have them select me, of all people, which is just fucking asinine. But I've tabbed you, Joe, my friend, to come in and try to keep the wheels on the street. You have brought a ton of knowledge to me when it comes to how I look at the gambling side, the predicting, handicapping. You were the first person I talked to who actually started talking about the course before the players. And so we're going to have a whole lot of fun. This show is not just a podcast, though, Joe. You will go to nostrokespod.com and you will find access to a tour level intelligence platform, which we have brought out for the Masters. Thank you to our tech friends at Sports Mockery for building that tool. Every single week, we will be introducing the tournament like you've never seen it before. Technology interlaid with analysis, interlaid with real people who play golf, live golf, talk golf, and have fun. This is your boys' podcast for real. And so I cannot wait to get started.
The platform is amazing, but you've kind of taken away my excuses for bad picks now because you've given me so much data.
Oh, what I have not.
I got no excuse now.
No. This platform is trained on you. You are a part of this platform.
That's dangerous.
That's why it's going to lose. No, that's why it's going to win. No, this is how shit is done in 2026. This is a modern golf podcast. That's what I'll tell you. But you can't go forward until you go back. So what I want to do is I want to start off a show kind of where we stand. We're about to head into major season. This is my favorite time. I'm kind of done with baseball. I don't know why. I know it's sad. Don't listen to that if you're a Sports Mockery fan. To me, I'm down to be 42 in May, got kids. I am down to Super Bowl football season. I got March Madness. I got NBA playoffs. I got the World Series. That's kind of it. And then it's golf. So to me, entering major season is like, this is the summer. It's every Friday with my guys playing golf. Tonight, I'm capping off our winter sim league. Hopefully we're in second place now. I hope to leave in a different place, though. We have a lot of points to gain on. But we kind of started talking about the show a couple months ago, and we started tracking what that would look like. And I think it's worth revisiting because you and I are both in a couple of DFS leagues. We are in a couple one and dones. You picked up a win at the Players. I picked up a runner-up in that same Players. I've got a couple other firsts. You've got a couple firsts and runners-up. I'm in, I think, fifth place in our one and done. And almost all of that is as a result of what you and I started a year ago talking about how we look at who's going to win. It's a different way to look at it. And so where are you at on things? How are you doing as far as your picks, your tourneys? What's the cards looking like for you? How do you feel about the golf season so far?
I think the golf season has been great, right? You have gotten guys that have finally kind of gotten over the finish line after, either not getting wins or not having wins for a couple of years, right? You saw Cam Young, his biggest win of his career at the Players Championship. That Players Final 9 was unbelievable, right? When you look at Ludwig the robot going from unstoppable to flaring out 2 shots. Fortunately, I had a Matty Fitz live ticket at 65-1 that I sweated out and lost on the 18th hole. And you've got Cam Young peaking at the right time, and then the next week, Fitzpatrick, right? He's runner-up at the Players. He wins the Valspar. What I've enjoyed is that you've had parity this year, right? You haven't had Scotty or Rory winning a majority of the tournaments leading into the greatest week on the golf calendar, the Masters week. So I look at going into the first major here is that you don't have one of the top guys just come scorched earth, like having won 3 of the first 7 or 8 tournaments. I think it's as wide open as it's been in probably the last 5 or 6 years. Not to say that one of those 2 top guys aren't going to be there, But instead of having 5 or 6 guys that you think can win the biggest tournament in golf, I think you have more like 15 to 20 guys, which I love from a betting value standpoint and just a pure golf entertainment perspective.
We need the drama. The live PGA drama, I think, has pretty much played its course. I don't think
It
there's that
has.
much there anymore. It's done. It's funny though. You say we've got this parity. We did not start the season this way. Scotty came out. We were talking Tiger-esque Scotty. He wins. He's kicking ass. Then he starts having the like Thursday yips. And
Yeah.
then he's got the kid. Someone probably should text the wife on when Nookie night should be. It's not hard to look back in the calendar. It's April every year.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Keeps
Scotty,
kind of running into
start
dude.
having those kids be born like in October and November, right? Like what are you
Or
doing here, buddy?
Or maybe it's just getting it all the time and it just ain't, hey, let a player play. All I know is it has surprised me that he got over it. And I guess we all have our opinions on it. I do think he actually kind of got over the yips, his ability to close escrow on Sunday and really bring it back to like the leaderboard 15-20, even though he'd be almost near cut line. I think he realized he was going to miss either one or more tournaments because of the pregnancy. And I think he just was like, all right, I don't give a shit. I'm going to bail here and go work on my game and kind of de-cleanse. I think he's going to come in really, really hot, which we'll talk about this a little bit later in the show as we actually cap the Masters. But one of the things that you mentioned that I think is important is like he have really fought. I mean, this is a post-Tiger era, has really fought to find like who are your heroes. We tried to do this like the banana boat foursome that they had the spring break picture of Justin Thomas and Fowler and these guys all on and Spieth and those guys hanging out on the banana boat.
Don't forget Smiley Kaufman in that
Well, yeah,
foursome.
well,
Good old Smiley Kaufman.
good old
The
but the
the
problem
one
is,
and only Masters appearance, Smiley
oh my
Kaufman.
God, they haven't lived up, and it's really hard. How do you live up to that? It's like trying to replace Jordan. We put all these people together, it just didn't work. The reality is, it actually did something that really was not covered, and I hope we talk more about it. But like, we have got a deeper field of guys that have very different stories that we haven't tried to sell before. The Gary Woodland thing, the PTSD story, and when, I mean, it's just an epic story. The
Unreal.
collapses that are like not really collapses, they're just really tough breaks in some cases collapse, but tough breaks. You've got so
I
much
know you I
talent.
know you I know you like your boy Shane Lowry, but that was a collapse, right?
Oh, that's
Like
a
there's been some Sunday collapses, and that was one of them.
it's a storyline that makes you feel like every one of the players who's like tier 2 good is capable of shuffling and winning and shuffling and losing. And it just seems
Absolutely.
like the way that we win and lose in this tour today is entertaining as hell. Like we look at the Bridgman win. There's a handful of these where you look and you're like 5-stroke lead, snore, no point in watching Sunday. And before you know it, it's like the last hole, the last 30 minutes, and it's like a one putt away from winning and losing. And it's been like that almost every single week. And we're going to bring that into the Masters. But the thing about the Masters that's different than all the other tournaments we're going to talk about is the Masters brings its own baggage. And the reality is, it is nearly improbable that there's a repeat winner. I forget the last time before Tiger, it's like, it's been a long time. It rarely happens. I think the odds makers had put it like 6% that Rory actually can repeat. Scheffler's coming in. He's Scotty Scheffler, so who knows? I put money on him. But it's not normal that the prohibitive favorite hasn't played in 4 weeks or whatever. It hasn't picked up since the last time he had a hard time getting across the cut line to start. Like, it's been, it's not like a normal way to come in. So that kind of makes him not necessarily the lead dog. And then you've got all these guys who have won over the last decade, like you said before, 12 to 15 people in the sort of gallery of players, and it's really hard to pick. And you've got this sort of live part where Koepka's back and Patrick Reed is so much of a favorite right now, 9,000+, whatever he is. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, that's usually the kind of underdog pick. Now we got him like as everybody's pick. So it's setting up for a
Yeah,
crazy,
he's
mess.
getting a little too he's getting a little too much love for my liking. Not
Time to
that the
fade.
data doesn't back it up, but when you're making bets, yes, you want to make bets on guys that you think can win the tournament or top 5, top 10, wherever you do it, but you also want someone that you enjoy rooting for. Patrick Reed's just not a guy I can root for. Like I don't want to be sweating out a Sunday golf bet with Patrick Reed. Like I want to be cheering against him versus wanting him to cash me a ticket. And I can see why people want to bet him this week. He's that unlikable for me.
I hate him. He has always been my Masters pick, but the thing is, he is usually like the fifth or sixth of my pool draft. Like you get him at like $6,500,
Yeah, now
7,000,
he's got
something
a
like
high,
that,
yeah.
not 9. And
Yeah.
like let's make the case. Like I think he's incredibly overrated, which is insane because he's a legit contender in my mind. Like I would pick him if it weren't for the fact that everyone's picking him. I would pick him like I always do, and he always pretty much never disappoints. And like look at the bull case. This dude won Dubai, won Qatar. He's second in Bahrain. He's been on the DP World Tour win. He's runner up. He's been all over the place, and of course he's won the Masters. And he's got the skill set that is like the perfect bag for the Masters, and yet he's got the most punchable face. Like he's like normally he runs under the radar as like the bad guy, and yet he's
Don't
taking
sugarcoat
selfies.
it, Scotty. Don't sugarcoat it,
Dude,
Scotty.
he took
Love
a
it.
picture of himself coming on a PJ. That's just not like I'm just saying, guys who start believing their own hype usually shit their pants, and I don't want it to happen because I probably will put or have put money on him, but I don't love it because it's really hard to take a guy who is that unlikable and make him a favorite. I don't know. Like it's just very difficult for me to.
I mean,
Yeah,
you laid out the case for why people are circling him, right? He's won, and like the biggest thing, right, is that he's got flexibility now, right? He's like quote unquote a free agent. He's been playing on the DP World Tour. He left Live, right? He left the esteemed four aces. I don't know how they'll ever be the same again without Pat Reed. The thing that concerns me, and it's with a lot of the golfers that are coming into the Masters, is there was a stat that like 11 of the last 13 Masters winners played at least one of the two events leading up to the Masters, right? Like in one of those 2 weeks they played. A lot of these guys have taken 3 to 4 weeks off, Patrick Reed
that's what I'm
included.
saying.
He's not played in a month. And yes, you can make the case of, okay, well, what did he spend? He spent that month prepping for Augusta, so he's going to be primed to do it. There's the other side of the coin where he hasn't been in a competitive tournament in a month, and even the tournaments that he has played in 2026 has not had the best fields, right? Like the DP World Tour, I think has got one guy or two guys that have qualified for the Masters. Like, so he's taking a step up in competition, and he hasn't played in a month. So he'll be one of the guys that I fade gladly.
I actually have money on him. That's fine. Not gladly. It's just a ritual. He almost never fails for me. I will say this, and I'm pretty clear I don't like the guy. We're going to have him on the show sometime. I promise you that much.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, dude,
I'm sure his wife is going to allow him to come on this show.
Hey, you know what? I got ghost Twitter accounts too. I can play that shit. It's fine.
Yeah, you got the burners. I think they've got
me and KD.
I think they've got like a stable. They've got a stable.
Scott Kitun's mom on Twitter. Scott Kitun's mom on Twitter. No, but the thing is, I do think that there are certain players that just, and I do believe is one of them because this is not me saying this. Like he has always had issues with playing with people, playing partners, people playing with him and not liking him. Just even teammates, the college thing was a whole deal. He's not a guy who I think really gives much of a shit about what the people playing next to him or watching him think. And so, like, I would say the exact opposite of like a Dustin Johnson. That's a guy who, like, when people are watching him, if they don't like how he looks or does something, I think it bothers him. I think that's why when he goes on Live, he just sort of disappears and it doesn't matter. I think that's what bothered John Rahm is that he wasn't getting attention and he's kind of figured that out in his head now. But like Patrick Reed doesn't care. Masters is it's like the one time a year you get to walk the red carpet and people remember your name. The one time he shows up and all the people who he doesn't like have to shake his fucking hand because he's got a green jacket. And I think it matters. So I think a guy like that can show up anytime.
You know what? It's the one time a year he actually gets invited to a dinner. So I know it's a special week for him.
Well, it sounds like it's a good dinner. Well, since we're talking about Augusta, why don't we pivot to this? Because I actually think this is one of my favorite parts of this show. And we couldn't do it without our friends at Fried Egg. Shout out to Andy Johnson. Love what Fried Egg does. So I'm just going to pull their information, and they do such a great job covering courses. You should check out Fried Egg if you haven't. They are live at Augusta right now. They are posting all of the conditions. I've got hole-by-hole updates of holes to look out for, holes that are playing different than normal. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, Joe, but I do think it's worth mentioning because in my opinion, and this is the greatest test of all to our little technology background intelligence system we built, because things change in real time. You said at the top of the show, a lot of times you come into a show, you talk about Thursday, and it's all bets off up until Thursday, and now it's off. Well, we've got a couple things going on. We've got a weather condition that looks like it's basically going to be just perfect, windy, dry, fast. So
Yeah.
if you're a person who has a heavy putter, who has a hard time trajectorying and flighting balls in with wedges, your distance guys, Sam Burns, some of these guys who can smoke the ball, they have an advantage off the tee, but they do not have an advantage on approach. And if you do not put on approach at Augusta, your ass is gone. And if you look at like Bryson DeChambeau, you know, you can get away with like not a great putting week. You cannot get away with having 40 and 50-foot putts all week. You got to be making 2 putts inside of 20 feet, not praying for 2 putts inside of 30 or 40 feet. If that's where you are, one, you won't score, and two, that's over, in my opinion. Like what we're looking for, just to set this up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're through it now, 73, 66. When tee-off time kicks off, it's going to be 69 degrees. It'll be 74 on Friday, 0% rain.
Thank
We
God.
are talking Augusta at its fastest. The scores will be, I think the scores will potentially they could be lower than ever, but I actually don't think they're going to be. I think you're going to have a clean week of play. Anyone who knows the course has a huge advantage, as always. But I think this opens the door for the people who maybe don't know the course as well, because they have the ability to play fast, and I think that's a little different nuance than we're used to.
Yeah, agreed. But I think, the tough part with the newcomers, right? Like you said it, Augusta's always extremely firm and fast. I think even more so this week with the great weather forecast that you just laid out. And you've got the bent grass at Augusta, right? So that's the first pure bent grass setup that the PGA Tour players see on the calendar, right? So what that means, right? And this is what the pros and the caddies say, most complex and nuanced greens to read. So yes, there is some advantage to the playing conditions. If you haven't been on those greens, like in competition, like I just think you've got to have the course experience, or at least you have to have a caddy that's got that course experience, because they are going to be complex, nuanced greens to read. So first off, you got to get the read right, and then you've got to get the speed right, and you've got to barely touch these putts.
I agree with you. I think more what I'm getting at is anyone who's won the Masters, I think, has a totally different advantage. If you've played the Masters, like I'm thinking of like Siwoo Kim, like
Yeah.
4 or 5 cuts made, like knows how to manufacture his top 20s, like knows what he's doing. He would be disadvantaged like on a slower course play, because there's bombers who are just going to grip and rip. And if it's fast and downhill, grip and rip doesn't really matter anymore. It's all about ball
Yeah, because
striking and
you're
approach,
right.
and not being a bad putter. Like being a great putter makes this incredible, good ball striker, great putter, huge advantage. If you're just a so-so putter, you're just not a terrible putter. So like that's where Schauffele to me is super interesting this week as well. Like he can be a decent putter. He can also be just atrocious, but he's a great ball striker.
Yeah.
So I think that the course in general is setting us up a little different than normal. There's no weather wild card. We've had a lot.
Yeah. And we've talked about this, right? And you've hit on it. What you're looking at with the great platform that our friends at Sports Mockery has put together, hone in on shots gained approach, in particular from 150 to 200 yards, because what Augusta has is they've got a lot of long par fours, right? So you're going to have that 150 to 200 yards out. Look who gains shots there. That's who you should start your card around. Yes, you've got to get off the tee. Yes, you've got to have good shots around the green and putting, but it's that 150 to 200 yards on those 10 par fours that are going to make or break the winner this week.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, why don't we talk about a couple of these holes? Obviously, we always talk about as they make their way around the turn to get some tough holes. Juniper, number 6. I think this is the biggest surprise. This is what the guys at Fried Egg found. The drop from the tee to green is more severe than the TV even shows. They feel like it's gotten to a point where it's severely downhill. So now you're heading into a very contoured green, very hard to land on a normal day, let alone a dry day. I think that's going to put a ton of pressure. I think that's a hole that I look out for all these guys. You can be even par. +1, -1, -2, getting into 6. Whether 6 is a bogey or a birdie for you, I think is the dictator of whether or not you're going to be able to get through 12 and be in contention. And as we know, if you can't get through 12 and 13 heading into the final stretch, like at least at even par, you have almost no chance. And I think it brings in, another one, Holly 18, Fried Egg's big take on this I thought was interesting. Actually said the hole kind of stinks. A few of the positions around the green we're not in not the greatest position for approach. Modern distances mean players will barely hit the club anyway. So unless you literally clip the side of the green or clip a tree or something that kicks you into a basically unplayable or unfair area, not much can go wrong, which kind of takes away from the anticlimactic part. I'm wondering, this is like conspiracy Scott over here. I'm wondering if that is because we've seen there's some outcomes in the last few years that have kind of come down to that hole that we don't want to see someone fall on their face. I don't know. It was interesting to me that they painted it like it let up a little bit.
That's a driver hole, right? So to say it's kind of like a nothing hole, you're taking out the fact that that's the most narrow tee shot that those players see all day. And when you've got the pressure coming down on Sunday, yeah, if you hit a great drive, right, more likely than not, you've got an easy par, unless you're Rory McIlroy last year, who had 125 yards in and pulled it into the bunker. But I've seen Scotty in those trees before. I've seen a lot of guys have their rounds derailed before Sunday, driving the ball on 18, right? So if you drive the ball great there, yeah, you're probably going to make a birdie or par. But to say that's just a given, I mean, looking at that hole on TV, that drive scares the shit out of me.
Right.
It looks terrifying.
According to these guys and their drones, they feel like the hole is not playing as hard as it has in the past, whether it's distance or whatnot. I don't know. The hole that I have my eye on, this is my better's hole for those listening who partake. 15, always a toughie, but with the weather as it is, and the bombers being pulled out of the bomber advantage, so to speak, it kind of allows for anyone to go for it in 2. Not anyone, but a lot of the players on tour are going for this in 2. And my prediction, and we haven't even talked about the players yet, but my prediction, an Adam Scott type coming into here with a nice shot at eagle, a 23-footer left to right, sinks an eagle. I think the winner of this tournament, the person, whether they win or not, or the person who's going to be the pull leader most of the week, is going to be the person who gets the first eagle or the first 2 days of eagle on that hole. And if you're a person playing it for birdie and par, I think that's going to be really tough. So that's one of the holes
you're going to be giving a shot. You're going to be giving a shot up to the guys that are going to attack it. Can I just say that I love that you mentioned Adam Scott? We are on the same page. So I can't wait to get to our picks, because he is a guy that I have circled that I think can be this year's Justin Rose, as far as an older guy that you've kind of forgotten about, that
Yes.
All of a sudden you look up on Thursday and you're like, wait, why didn't I think of Adam Scott? The guy's 5 under and has got the prettiest swing in all of golf.
And now with, we won't get into Tiger, that's been spoken about, but now with Tiger, not around for a little while, let's say, I feel like Adam Scott's the new spokesperson of the PGA. He's the most likable guy. He's got a beautiful swing. He's still competitive. He's giving me, I turned 42 in May. He's giving me the hope of an older guy now. He's increased his swing speed, which is just insane. Yeah. And I absolutely love it. You said talking about players. Why don't we transition to that? This is what the show's really about. Capping the lines. I'm going to read these off to you. These were as of, I believe, yesterday. So if they're outdated by the time you guys listen to this on Wednesday, let me start from the top. Plus 500 odds. Scotty Scheffler down the line. John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy plus 1,200. Ludwig Cyborg plus 1,400. My guy, my fellow Callaway TCB Raw playing fellow, Xander Schauffele, who I actually do have some money in because I just love him. I wanted to win so badly. Plus 16. Matt Fitzpatrick, fellow Wildcat, Chicago Zone. That's one of my sleeper picks, even though he's highly rated. I just think he's got the game. He's a tough bastard, which I love. And then Tommy Fleetwood, we could talk about that. Justin Rose, and we've already spent more than enough time on Patrick Reed, who's at plus 35 on this. So let's take the top first. We already kind of talked about the fact that Scheffler's coming in different, but you mentioned a lot of these guys are coming in without having played in 2, 3, 4 weeks. So that's not different. I don't think the kid thing matters. So long as he doesn't get pulled over and put in jail, I think he's fine. Rahm, there is a lot of talk about Rahm. I
Yeah,
feel like that's the.
he's getting so much love coming into this.
Is it too much?
Yeah.
I currently
mean,
have him in your daily fantasy. I
yeah,
have him
keep
as
him
my
in there.
first.
Keep him in there. Keep him in there, buddy.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want to hear that.
Listen, John Rahm is a top 3 player in the world. My issue is ever since he's gone to live, you've not seen it translate to major success. So to me, I need to see it before I say, hey, out of that top tier group, that's the guy that I'm going to back. Completely understand why people have him slotted as one of the guys that they've circled as a favorite at Augusta. I mean, he's won here before. He's got an insane amount of talent. He's still only won, I think, on live. I think Bryson has beat him twice. Our friend Anthony Kim dog walked him in Adelaide on the back 9.
AK, man. I love AK. That
AK,
story
baby.
is the best. I love it. We
It's
will get on
good.
this show. I guarantee you that. I have a couple of little DMs back and forth with him, and he's just like the coolest dude of all time. So we're going to get him on the show someday.
That would be awesome.
I want to bounce around a little bit with these players. So like Rory, we're kind of captain. I mean, there's nothing you can't say. He obviously can win anytime, any place. I don't doubt that. He's now got the whole, he's won all the majors. I just think it's really difficult for a guy to come back and win back-to-back. I think it's difficult even for a guy as good as Rory McIlroy, but specifically more Rory here. We've got the back thing going on. That's a question about Morikawa. That's probably why you don't see him on here. And in general, I think we've covered it. Oberg, Cyborg, I love this dude's game. I think if he were to win it, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the final 1 or 2 guys the last hour on Sunday. I just don't it's whenever he does turn it on and wins, he'll win a shit ton in a row. But until then, it's still this sort of it's just
Can he close?
It's the same thing that gets me with Schauffele. Same thing with Schauffele.
Yeah.
Can he play on Sunday?
But Schauffele's won 2
I know
majors,
he's won.
right? He's won
Yes.
2 majors, but that was the question mark on him, and I think Ludwig is now in that same vein as Xander was before he got over the
Yes.
hump. Ludwig's one of those guys, right? When you saw him at the Players on Friday, and I was watching him, and like when he gets in a groove, you're like, how does this guy ever lose a golf tournament? Like when he has it going, it looks so effortless. It looks like he's just going to birdie
Vintage
every hole, and
Hovland is what it looks like.
and to be honest, watching him when you've got a ticket on another guy when he's rolling it like that and playing, you just feel defeated. But then Saturday of the Players comes around and he doesn't give the tournament up, but he kind of gets stuck in neutral. And then Sunday, kind of same thing, that front 9, I think he played at even par. He was given, Fitzy and Cam Young, I think gained 2 or 3 strokes on him on the front 9, but he still had the lead. And then you get to the back 9, pressure at Sawgrass, and, that robotic kind of like smooth, easy swing all of a sudden kind of abandoned him a little bit, and he pushed it out right into the water on 11 and then sent it into the water again on 12. The Augusta obviously fits his eye, right? I think he was, the top debutant 2 years ago, his solo second I think he was tied for second last year until he blew up on hole 18. I will not rule him out. He's not a guy that I'm fading this week. It's still one of those things, though, where can he close it on Sunday? I do think his first big win is going to come at Augusta, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's this year.
Keeping receipts on that one.
He's a good guy I feel comfortable putting in my foxhole from a pick standpoint, because he's going to be in it. He might not win it, but I don't think he's going to be a guy where you're looking at it Friday afternoon and being like, I can't believe I picked him. I think he'll be around on Sunday. It just comes down to that pressure on the back 9.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's as we look through this, I mean, Justin Rose is another example of this where he has got the Adam Scott. You mentioned that before. He's a player who I think could be +2 after Friday, and you're just not talking about him. He ends up in the top 50, and that's just what it is. Or he could literally just be -3 every single day, and he's in the top 10 and just sort of sneaks in. Or he could win it. I don't think he's going to, but he has that sort of sneaky game that just
let him win it, Scott.
Running.
Let him win it.
I would love him to. I would love him to.
So I bet Justin Rose. I bet Justin Rose, and I think you're aware of this, the Thursday night after his first round at Torrey Pines, he just had that look where he's going to run away with the tournament. He does run away with that tournament. He wins by 7 shots. I think he breaks the course record. I got him at 60-1 back in January. Those odds have now been cut in half, but it just depends. Are you going to get the rose that you saw at Torrey Pines or Augusta last year? Or to your point, like he has had some inconsistent play over the years. I just think that something like just like Ludwig, right? Like Augusta fits Justin Rose, right? He's been runner up 3 times, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I don't know. That to me would be my favorite storyline is if Justin Rose finally got that green jacket. And I hope he does it in a playoff because he has lost 2 playoffs at Augusta. First to Sergio in 2017, then to Rory last year. I want him to get that green jacket. That's my favorite pick. That's my favorite storyline of Masters 26.
I can't hate that. He's such an interesting player. Like I can't think of a comp for him. I was trying to think of like NBA comps or just anything like that. Like a guy who's won majors, who's been a player. He's what 45, something like that. He
Yeah.
like he just he's a ho hum. He wins, and you're just sort of like, oh yeah, that guy again. It's like he's
Yeah,
just
like he's still around.
stacking
He's still
trophies.
around.
And it's been
Yeah.
that his whole career. He's he's Ed Harris of movies is what he is. He's a guy who is on the cusp of winning Oscars, wins a couple, gets nominated. Fucking 15 years, he looks the exact same. And you're just
I
like,
was
no,
gonna
it's still
say,
Justin
like,
Rose in here.
he's like the one guy, his hair gets better as he gets older. It's like it's unbelievable. Like, well, I guess
Some of the best of us.
that's what money buys.
I have no money, but I got beautiful head of hair going. No, I love that storyline. I would love to see it. I think we topped this off by, it would be quite historical, frankly, for Schauffele, for Scheffler or Rory to win. It'd be the first time both Tiger stats since '05 that the top 2 co-favorites win. It would be the first time of a back-to-back since '01, '02 Tiger. So I just think what we're really looking at is that list that you just kind of read through. There are, though, I think, a few under the radar picks here.
1,000%.
And when I say this, I am not just talking about betting. I am talking about entertainment. I think that one of the coolest stories of this, I would say, season so far to me is the introduction to players, and this is the future. This is why the field's so deep. Introduction to guys like Jacob Bridgman. I watch golf a lot. I didn't know who that guy was. And his
You and me
game,
both.
dude, I love watching his game. That dude doesn't give a shit. He just puts it out and just lets it roll. And so, looking at a guy like him, he's plus 6,500. That is probably unlikely to win, but he's got tons of game. I don't think he cares who he's playing against. It's kind of like the Pearson dude on non-masters. It's just very interesting.
Him winning at Riv, right, in LA, one of the toughest courses on the PGA Tour year in and year out. There's really no comps to Augusta, but if you were to comp it, Riviera is one of them. And what he was able to do that Sunday, where he had a big lead and he was playing very conservative, but Rory didn't go away and he had to make a big putt on 18 with, the sponsor of the tournament, Tiger Woods, over his shoulder, like a knee knocker 5-footer, and he buried it, right? So I definitely think he's pressure tested. It's just the fact that he hasn't played here, right? Which is going to be, which is the
it probably excludes him from winning, frankly.
It's probably why you're seeing the number that you're seeing, right? Like if this was his second or third Masters and he's coming off of winning the Genesis at Riv, that number is cut in half at least. But I like him. I like his game a lot.
Well, look, we've handicapped this course, the players, the weather, the whole thing, I think, as much as you can. So let's start getting into the picks and pools here. We're going to do all of our fans a favor and give them some good ones. Normally, I would tell you do whatever I don't say or do whatever or don't do whatever I say. Both.
You're kind of on a heater, though, Scotty.
I'm on a bit of a heater, though. I am on a bit of a heater. So, we're gonna track our pick as a show going forward. We got practice rounds. We got our reps in. Pre-major season. Major season starts now. From now on, this show has an official pick. That official pick, by the way, will be Venmo Joe's pick. Venmo Joe is going to be the person who locks them in for us. But we'll talk through it a little bit. I want to help our friends out with the one and done strategy. If you're an idiot like me, you played Scheffler early and I got a ton of shit for it. And now it's like,
but you got the win with him. You got the win at American Express.
It was a little win.
Yeah.
But now he started to play kind of average. I was like, well, maybe it wasn't the worst thing. And so I've got a lot of guys that I call horses for courses. I have a lot of that lined up for the rest of the season, so I expect to do well. And I don't assume that all one and done strategic players are necessarily thinking that far ahead, but let's just assume that you are looking at your board. What do you think is the strategy for this tournament? Is it just you, like if you've got Scheffler
I
or you've
think,
got one of the top three, you pick it,
yeah,
or you go
this
with
is
a top five approach and just be in the
this is
combo?
the biggest individual payout, right? In our one and done, and I'm sure in a lot of
Right.
one and dones, it's based on cash, right? So
Is that why I
you
picked
should
Patrick
pick
Reed in my one and done?
you should pick your top guy. With that said, if Rory and Scotty and the top guys are gone, I mean, this is always a perfect opportunity for the live guys because you only get 4 opportunities to utilize that, right? So
I'm going to push
an
back on you, Joe.
opportunity to potentially look at Rahm or Bryson there.
I'm pushing back on you that I think when you start the year on your one and done, you want to have your big horses available for the Masters and for all the majors. But I think that when you look at what we've talked about today, like I don't necessarily think that using, if you have them available still, Scheffler or Rory is a good grab here. I would save Rory for like the British or Scheffler when you see a little bit more, unless you truly think he's going to win this year, which I mean, he might be the bad example because he's so far and away better than people and he's coming back on
He
unknown.
wins at the courses that he's won at. I hear you. There's
That's true.
parity
That
that hasn't
Scheffler may be a
existed
bad
here.
example. Yeah. I don't know. I think that it's shaping up to be very difficult for those guys. I'm a numbers person, so when I see it, it's like for me personally, this would be my approach. I'm looking for guys who I expect to see in the top 5 who have every bit the chance to win. If Rahm is there and that's what you've got on the table, like maybe you take that. I wouldn't like reach and try to pick someone who's going to be an outlier win. I think that's a recipe for disaster. But if you go with, several of the names we talked about, I really think that if they land on the top 5, you've done yourself no disservice in your one and done. If you pull out and win, you're probably leading your one and done at the end of it. And then if you're so ballsy as to leave Rory or even Scotty off of your pick, you now have 2 very likely potential major winners for your next 3 majors coming down the pipe, in which case that is game over on your one and done. So if you are in that position, kudos to you.
That's probably why you're doing better than the one and done than me.
It's a little
I
bit.
what I would say is pick the guy you think that is going to win, right? Like that, if you've got him available, the guy that you've handicapped that you think is going to win, that should be your one and done. I think based on everything that we've talked about, like if I had my pick of all of the top guys, and I'll give you more dark horse
Yeah.
picks. If I had my picks of all
Who's
the
your
top
one
guys,
this right now? One and done for the show. This is official. One and done for the show.
well,
We're
this
fresh
isn't
right
who
now.
this isn't who I would use in the one and done, but my pick to win the Masters is Justin Rose. That's who I'm riding with. That's not who I would pick in one and done. Who I would pick in one and done is Ludwig, right? Just based on what we talked about, right? Like I think
but see, he fits into my top 5 thing, right? Because that's a guy who we expect to see on Saturday and Sunday floating around.
Exactly.
If 15 goes right, Ludwig's walking away with a jacket. And if 15
Like
goes
you had
wrong
his
or he
floor,
boils up on 18,
is so much. His floor, him and Scotty's floor, I think are the highest of everyone, right? Because like I just don't see them not being top 10, top 15, and that's what you want in the one and done. You want a chance to win, but even if you're not going to win, you're still going to cash a big payout.
Yep. No, I totally agree with you. DFS. So in general, this is something that like you and I both have had a pretty successful season on and making pool picks. I think this is something that people do not well. Like if I'm talking to my golf friends, I don't think that they do this very well because they usually pick based on either what they just saw on ESPN, which is just a terrible disaster, but also there's this we had the beginning of the season where Scheffler was too expensive. So if you made Scheffler's bet, it was basically Scheffler and then whatever you could cobble together. This tournament, as you set us up at the top of the show, is wide open. So how would you recommend people make their picks? How would you pick your? I'm not going to ask you how you picked yours because we're not locked in yet.
Because we're going to have listeners that are in our DraftKings pool, so we got to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, we all get to pick the same. They're not going to pick. They don't have the balls to pick my 6th.
My strategy is I usually don't tend to go to like the top 3 to 5 highest salary guys because to your point on Scheffler, like they just take up such a big percentage of your salary cap that your team just you've got 2 or 3 guys that you don't feel comfortable with. So I always get comfortable kind of, I mean, I'll pull it up right now. I get comfortable in that like 9,500 to 8,500 range and just try to pick as many of those players that I really like heading into the tournament as possible and try to avoid having, a 6,000 salary guy who more likely than not is going to miss the cut. What you're trying to do in the DFS lineup, you want to get every guy past the cut, right? That's how you're going to generate points, and then you hope one of the 2 guys that you picked are flirting with the title on Sunday. But if you lose 2 of your 6, it's over. It doesn't matter if you've got a really good top heavy lineup. Having those 2 guys miss is going to prevent you from winning. So just don't spend it all on Scheffler, Rory, Rahm, Bryson. Like get to that 9,500, 8,500 range. Try to get 3 or 4 guys there, and then dip down to 7 to 7,500.
This is advice coming from a guy who on the Players had 4 of his 6 picks in the top 5 of that tournament.
Yeah,
That
it was
was
pretty
insane. I
good.
was watching you from the pool in Austin, just going, "This son of a bitch!" Like unbelievable.
No, had Fitzy, had Cam, had Ludwig. It was
You had them
easy
all.
picking there, man. It was
Dude,
easy picking there.
that was house cleaning.
I'm
Yeah.
looking
So
at the salaries. I'm looking at the salaries now, like Adam Scott, who we both like, $7,200.
Can't beat
He's
it.
gonna be in the lineup.
Also, Henley, he does well at the Masters all the time, and I thought he was 78, 76. He's low.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he's had some injury, like he's missed a couple tournaments, but yeah, he usually he doesn't win majors, but he definitely shows up. He kind of flirts in that,
He's your cut maker.
Yeah, he's your cut maker. I like the lefties this week too, right? Lefty golfers have historically thrived at Augusta with the natural fade they've got. So I'd pick between Ashke and Big Bob, right? Those 2, Big Bob almost won on Sunday. I actually like that he didn't win on Sunday going into the Masters. That's a guy that's continued to show up in the majors the last couple of years, almost won the US Open last year, has won the Scottish Open, like beat Rory head to head in the Scottish Open. Like he's a big game player. He's played in the Ryder Cup, very high on Big Bob McIntyre. And then, Batia won Arnold.
He's a dog.
Yeah, won the API at Bay Hill. He's got Max Homa's old caddy, Joe Griner, who, Max Homa's had success here. I think it's good because Homa's had success at Augusta, right? He's top 3 a couple of years ago.
No, you're right about
that. He's a beloved caddy. So all those, Ashke, I think, is like 7,800 if I'm looking at that right now. Big Bob is 8,600. So that's right in that range that I was talking about. And if you're going that approach, I think you get a much more well-rounded lineup. You're just hoping that, Scotty and Rory don't win.
I'm not worried about that, which is going to be something I'm going to probably eat my words on. One name we've not said the entire time needs mentioning is Hideki. It's interesting that he has not gotten any. He's not yet coming in hot, but he's not like cold exactly. And he's a winner. He's a guy. I don't know. That's one that is interesting. I'm not betting on that, but I do think that he's kind of flying under the radar, which I like. Person who almost certainly won't win that I want so badly to break out is Minwoo Lee. I love his game so much.
Yeah,
I love that dude.
Too.
Got to play. I told you the story.
Let him cook, Scotty. Let him cook, Scotty.
I got to play the chef for a hole at Rich Harvest Farms and took my ball from him, which is one of my greatest stories. I just needed to break out for it. Masters is tough though. That's a tough one for him, but I do think that he's just got
he's got
such a
the
tool
game.
bag.
He's definitely got
God,
the game.
Is he good.
There's no doubt about that. He's definitely got the game.
The last one I'm going to put out here, and we talked briefly, is Fleetwood. It's a hard one, but he's if you're an odds maker, if you're picking for money, he's pretty good, as far as value there. He's obviously an incredible player. He had the FedEx, and that's the thing. It's a lot of shed tears.
He's gonna try his hardest.
Aren't we all? Isn't that what we all do?
Dude, I love Tommy Fleetwood. My cousin Cale got me on Fleetwood years ago. He's obsessed. He's lost probably $10,000 betting on Tommy Fleetwood.
Real man.
I can't do it, man. My advice on Tommy Fleetwood: top 5, top 10. Don't bet him to win.
Yeah, always.
Until he is proven that he can win an actual event like the Tour Championship with 30 people. Yeah, it was great. That's not winning at Augusta. That's not winning a major. That's not winning the Players. I got to see it before I believe it. And I'll cash the money at top 5 or top 10. Stay away from a winning ticket on Tommy.
I am going to save my prediction market rant for our next episode, but I'm just going to tell people who are not on the Robin Hood Kelsey train like I am, Fleetwood is a dream. He is a short gate. He's the short master. I can buy him at a great low rate and then watch him get into contention and watch all the idiots bet him up and then just short sell the shit out of him because I know where I'm going to find him on Sunday, right where I got him at 2 cents. That's what's going to happen. I love the man. He's going to peak. I'm calling right now. He's going to peak at around 45 to 50 cents, 51 cents if he gets in the top 5 at the end of Saturday. By the end of Sunday, he will be at 1 cent. I'm telling you right now. And I love the guy and I want to see him win.
You're selling that contract.
That's my
at what
wallet
point?
talking right now. That's my wallet talking.
What are you selling that contract at?
Oh, I'm going to buy and sell multiple times. I'm going to get
but in that scenario, right? If you've got Tommy and he gets up to like 50 cents,
so
when are you selling him?
You can only choose to the baseline. So those of you who aren't like it's different for different sites. Polymarket's a little different. I use Robinhood for the most part. It will basically tell you the floor. So if he's being bought at 40 cents, he's probably a limit sold at 38 or 37 or whatever minus fees. So you've got to kind of figure out, like, did I buy him at 3 cents to either win or are you doing top 5? So now I'm buying him at like 10, 11 cents or 7 cents, probably more like 6 or 7 cents. If he gets to 45 cents, I'm selling it. When I sell at 42, if I do not believe that he's going to stay in the top 5 into Sunday, then I get out there. If he's in the top 5 at the turn on Sunday, he's going to be like 60 cents. At 60 cents, I might just sell. I'd probably sell it, even if he wins.
Yeah,
I mean, if he wins, obviously, shit happens. But
we're gonna need a whole I need an education on the predictions market.
I will bring
you'll give that to our audience because
it's the investor's take on gambling, and it seems wholly illegal, but for right now, it's still alive. So we'll talk more about that in the future. I just think it's an interesting topic. But either way, Joe, it was a blast to have you back. Congratulations to you and to me and to us on getting this show elevated into, I think, another stratosphere. I wasn't sure if what we were going to do. We were just dicking around doing clips and people seemed to like it. I want to thank Chris and Sports Mockery team for giving us the opportunity, for building an incredible tech platform. They're launching their brand new site in the coming week or so here. It's going to be sick. You're going to be able to play GM on Chicago sports teams, helping you with your fantasy picks, in-depth coverage. They launched a new Bears podcast with Jerry Azuma. He's now under the Sports Mockery handle. And in general, if you go to nostrokespod.com or Sports Mockery, you can find their Masters Pro edition. It's a platform that we built that allows you to tap into all the things that Joe and I were talking about, visually see it, play picks. And here's a little wink and a gun. There's a section in the bottom of that is just a joy to play. And I'll leave it at that. But I highly recommend people check it out. I hope you follow us on all the socials at No Strokes Pod. And you can always find me at Kitun. And now you can find Joe at Venmo Joe on the IG. My guy, thank you so much for taking the time.
Hey, man. Always a blast, dude. Looking forward to taking in the Masters with you this week and winning some money for our audience. Great to be back.
I think that's the move. Let's go. Have a good Masters. Have a good week. See ya.